Although Maui County has yet to experience the large-scale destruction caused by wildfires on the mainland, local fire officials feel it is only a matter of when, not if, our islands will experience a catastrophic wildfire. In fact, Molokai has experienced several 10,000-acre wildfires in the past decade alone, and a 2,500-acre fire in Kehikinui burned for weeks in inaccessible terrain, making it difficult for firefighters to extinguish. Between 2000 and 2003, the number of brush fires in Maui County jumped from 117 to 271, burning more than 5,000 acres in 2003 alone.
Aloha and welcome. I'm Leo Domingo from the County of Maui Fire Department.
And I'm Denise Leighton, the Firewise Community Coordinator for Hawaii.
Today we're going to talk about brush fire safety in the wildland-urban interface.
And how you can make your house firewise and protect it against brush fires.
Maui's natural beauty draws tens of thousands of visitors from around the world every year. They come because Maui is home to plants and animals found nowhere else on the planet. Maui's ecosystem is not adaptive to wildfire. That means when we experience brush fires, it leads to native plant destruction and soil erosion, which then leads to soil runoff into the ocean, killing seaweed and fish that locals rely on for food. Wildfire destruction of our ecosystem also impacts local cultural practices.
Maui, like the rest of Hawaii, is what's known as a wildland-urban interface. That's anywhere you have wildlands or grasslands and homes. Due to the decline of the sugarcane industry and an ever-increasing number of people moving to Maui, more and more homes are now being built in the wildland-urban interface, making it all the more important to become firewise.
We're here at Daryl and Regina Lem's house in Makawao on Maui, where we're going to do an assessment of their property to see what they need to do to become firewise. And then we'll have a firewise work day with volunteers from multiple agencies, including the Maui County Fire Department and the Division of Forestry and Wildlife, who will be helping to make the house firewise.
Regina, one of the things you want to look for when you're cleaning your yard and maintaining your yard is look to see where leaves gather. And you know, here we've got a space over here. There's a lot of dead material, so you want to make sure you rake that often and maintain that. And also these trees, the palm fronds, they do give a nice entry view. They have a kind of cathedral view, but you would want to prune these back as well because they are getting a little too close for comfort to the front of the house. Also, if there were a fire and your front door is right here, it would be hard to exit if this was also on fire.
True. Yeah.
You know, like a lot of homes here on Maui, they might have tight property lines, but even just 5 or 10 feet, you can still be firewise because here we have an awful lot of overgrown brush. And again, here we want to make sure that this hibiscus is pruned back. So it's not an issue of removing it entirely, just pruning it back so that the two don't meet, and just making sure that it's lean, clean, and green. It's important to put 1/8 inch wire mesh when you have lanais or any kind of puka spaces underneath your house. As you can see here, we've got a good pile going of pine needles in the wall here. We'd want to put 1/8 inch wire mesh behind them because embers could also easily lodge in there. We mentioned earlier about the wire mesh. Also important to remember to do in between the spaces of the stairs as well, so that anything coming from this direction doesn't lodge underneath the lanai as well. And looking in here, the eaves, Firewise recommends boxing the eaves. Not really concerned about these as of yet because there's nothing for the embers to really lodge on, but you do have these round puka spaces here, and just would want to make sure that there is 1/8 inch wire mesh behind those as well. The windows, ideally you would hope for double paned windows or tempered glass windows because they provide added security. If, for example, a double paned window, if you were to experience a wildfire, the first pane could break, but yet the second pane would hold it.
We're cutting this mesh to put alongside this deck to keep any of the pine needles or any of the rubbish, the duff, from going underneath in case there are any fires in the area and the sparks might get underneath. There won't be any rubbish. It also prevents sparks or embers from flying underneath the deck.
So far, can you show me what you guys have done?
I guess the hardest part is this. That's why the chief volunteered me for this. Is putting this mesh underneath the steps. We're going to try and fill in all of the little pukas or any of the areas so that none of the duff or none of the pine cones or any of the leaves can get under it. So I'm doing this part over here. Fire One and Val Martin are going to put the length of it this way, and then hopefully it'll pretty much be all covered up. And then we got another deck in the back that we're going to work on as well as that other end over there. Basically that's it.
See, this will
Where
kind of fit
to
you.
rotate
Yeah, I can actually have
Put a little L on this side.
Okay.
Then this will be
Yeah.
perfect. The next one, they'll make
Yeah.
it to include the L shape on here. Cut some edges, I can get it into maybe cut across here.
Hi, my name is Lance De Silva, and I'm with the Division of Forestry and Wildlife in Maui. As you can see here, we are trimming our ladder fuels. By reducing the ladder fuels, you can prevent the fire from creeping from a little ground fire up into the canopy fires, which will lead right into their house. We're trying to keep it down to about 3 to 4 feet.
It's important to create Firewise landscaping around your house, but just as important, you also need to maintain it. If we had just let this brush dry here, there was a lot of dead growth in it. Embers could have landed in here, could have been a fire hazard. So it's important to prune back as well as maintain your hedges and any of your shrubs around your home. And remember to keep a 30-foot perimeter from your house of defensible space. Another issue to consider also is that the streets and the driveways are wide enough for fire trucks to get down. This particular private road is wide enough for an engine or a tanker, but the trees are extending over, and we'd want to cut this tree back so that an engine or an ambulance could get down here. Also, the ironwoods are extending over the street as well, and we'd want to cut those back. And as we come into the backyard, I see lots and lots of lush vegetation, and a lot of vegetation coming really close to the house. You know, for instance, we've got these palm fronds that are less than 5 feet. Oh, we've got some friends here today. Hi guys.
Come here,
In the
stupid.
backyard, we have just got a plethora of greenery. We've got plumeria trees, some night blooming jasmine, lots of plumeria trees, palm fronds. What I'd like to see here is just cutting back. We don't necessarily have to get rid of a lot of the greenery because
It's all growing
It's-
into each other.
it's just being lean, clean, and green. We'd also want to look at pruning back this plumeria tree, perhaps scaling back on the banana trees as well. Looks like we're going to have some choke bananas coming in pretty soon. You can see there's a lot of just leaves and duff on the ground here. Again, if her neighbors were to have a barbecue fire that got out of control, or a wildfire were to approach the area, because embers can travel up to a mile in certain wind conditions, there's a lot of area where the embers could land and ignite, and then they would then reach up from all this dead leaves up to the trees and then could potentially carry to the house.
there's a firewood pile over here. Do you guys have a fireplace?
No. We don't. We'd be happy for anyone to take it.
Okay, but you
has
just
one.
have a firewood pile, but you don't. Yeah, if you don't need the firewood,
No.
it's just a hazard waiting to happen. You know, embers could land in it, ignite. It's right next to. I don't know if you can see this. It's right next to a wooden fence, so it really is a fire hazard. Here in the backyard, the homeowners have a row of ironwood trees, about 15 in all. And you can see they had been scaled back at one point. The homeowners tell us about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, the trees had been pruned. And you can see the height that they've reached in just 4 years. Now they do have tremendous Firewise issues as a result of these trees because of the pine needles that are being dropped in the yard, as well as the branches overhanging the roof and the leaves the pine needles dropping onto the roof, as well as the wooden lanai and gathering in the backyard. So these are a hazard, a Firewise hazard. But one of the key elements about being Firewise, you also want to remain safe. A job of this nature is not for the weekend warrior. For something of this proportion, you want to bring in the professionals. So we'll be having a crew from the Division of Forestry and Wildlife helping us prune these trees. They've been trained in chainsaw cutting, and they're professionals. Because you don't want to risk injury to yourself, injury to your family, and you don't want to risk having the tree fall on your roof and damaging your house, or falling on your neighbor's house. As you can see here, the next door neighbor's house is only 10 feet away, and they have picture windows there to boot. So safety first when doing Firewise projects around the home. So Chief, what do you think about today's project?
This is a really worthy project here, and if everybody will do their part and look what's around them and start to clean up and use this project as a catalyst, I think Maui will go far in cutting down their brush fires.
I have 4 key points to being Firewise. First and foremost, you want to remove all ladder fuels near or around your house. You also want to remove any flammable brush or trees such as kiawe, eucalyptus, ironwood. You also want to create a fire break, either by a brick patio, a driveway, or a concrete lanai. 4 is to prune vegetation near or around your house 6 to 10 feet above the ground.
During this Firewise Community Workday in Makawao, volunteers cleared 12,000 pounds or 6 tons of green waste in a single day.
Bougainvillea hedge looks great. It was really pruned down and thinned out. Now it's grown back beautifully.
Pruning this bougainvillea hedge and removing the dead branches has created a cleaner, greener entrance to the property. The homeowners have made great strides in making their property Firewise. In the upper portion of the yard, they cleaned up the area and planted grass as a fuel break. The trees closest to the house and entryway were pruned, and limbs were cut back 6 to 10 feet above the ground, and the entranceway was expanded.
This is quite an improvement. The homeowners have made a lot of defensible space here. As you can see, it's a good idea to install this 1/8 inch wire mesh here that'll keep the leaves, the dead leaves, any embers from accumulating or lighting up under the lanai.
You see, all this got cleaned up and all
Yeah.
this got cleaned.
Even those
And
trees
this
all
got-
got thinned out.
Yeah, that got way pruned back.
Those trees are
Cleared all
wide
this
open now.
back, and yeah, the canary came back.
They did a good
Really
job.
good.
Looking all in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Came back and
Being Firewise is easy and simple to do. You don't need a crew of volunteers to make your house Firewise. You just need to take one step at a time and follow the Firewise landscaping checklist to make sure your property is lean, clean, and green.
My husband Daryl and I would really like to thank all of the volunteers who participated in this Firewise safety project. We really learned a lot about Firewise techniques. We've implemented them around our home, and we look forward to continuing with that. And again, we just want to send a sincere thank you to all the volunteers who helped with this project.
For more information on Firewise and wildfire safety, contact Firewise Communities, Denise Leighton, Community Coordinator at 808-281-3497, or Maui County Department of Fire and Public Safety Fire Prevention Bureau at 808-270-7566, or State Division of Forestry and Wildlife 808-873-3501.